Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are dreaming of building your own handmade wardrobe, I have some patterns that I use on different sewing levels that I think you're going to find very helpful. Making your own wardrobe is just super rewarding because you can make the clothes that you want. You know, you feel stylish, you feel like you're kind of getting around the whole fast fashion thing because it's sustainable to make your own clothing, you know, as long as you're buying fabrics that fit within that sustainability bubble. This video is going to be all about that. In 2017, I decided to just stop shopping new clothes, right? So I was making a lot of my own clothes. I've thrifted clothing since I was a teenager, and I decided at that point that I was not going to buy anything new minus underwear and bras. But I've gone through different ebbs and flows with the underwear and bras, so we can talk about that like maybe in a later video. But anyway, that aside, I have not bought new clothing. I can think of the times that I've bought new clothing since 2017. And once I was on vacation and I was freezing at a national park at night. We were in Hawaii actually, and we were going to look at the lava flow, and it was freezing. And I bought this wonderful cotton hooded sweatshirt that I wear a lot and I love. Oh, and I bought some tops when I was in Mexico before the pandemic in 2020. I was there in like February of 2020, and I did buy some artisan blouses. Really the only new stuff I bought. Anyway, I'll start talking about that, and I will start talking about the patterns that I use all the time. Let's start with some beginner friendly patterns. The pattern world of sewing is actually going through a really interesting change right now. It was just announced that the big four, the traditional patterns, Vogue, Butterick, Simplicity, and McCall's, they have sold their inventory to a liquidator. So I don't know what's happening. At first when I heard the news, I thought, well, that's the end of it, which is very sad. I mean, I absolutely love sewing patterns, and they're so nostalgic, and I use them to this day. And when I first started teaching sewing classes, there weren't indie patterns. There weren't, it was really, or maybe there were a handful, but we're talking about like, I don't know, 2009. And I was teaching on vintage sewing patterns. So therefore, like having to adjust whatever size vintage pattern to adjust to fit the sizes of the people that were taking the class. And it was super fun. And you know, I absolutely love vintage sewing patterns. But today I'm going to talk about indie sewing patterns because I feel like that's sort of where it's going. There are so many amazing indie pattern sewing companies, and I actually have a list of the ones that I love, and I'll link that below. But I'm going to start with the beginner friendly patterns. So when I'm teaching, these are the ones that I sort of recommend for beginner clothing patterns. And the first one is a seamwork pattern. It's the bow top. It's a box top that has barely any sleeve. It's sort of cropped. You can adjust the length. You can adjust the sleeve length a little bit. It has bias tape for the neck. It's super simple and really satisfying to sew. So that's the bow top from Seamwork. Just be careful of the sizing on it. I don't know. I always feel like there's a slight issue with the sizing. So I recommend making a muslin before you pull out the $50 yard fabric, okay? Just slight warning there. And I recommend that for anything, but I think there is a sizing issue, or maybe I just printed it wrong. My copy is just wrong, but it just feels like it's a very big pattern. Okay, second is pants, and pants can be some of the most difficult things to sew because it's where a lot of your curves are, your waist, your hips, all very different measurements, and you have to be able to slide them onto your body easily. Anyway, I found that the free range slacks from Sew House 7 are a very, very simple yet wearable pair of pants to make. Like, there's plenty of elastic waist pants that are just like, you know, pajama bottoms, but this pair of pants, it has elastic in the back, and it can, I think it's a flat front, or maybe there's an option. Either way, the elastic in it is really flattering compared to a lot of the elastic waist pants that I've tried. So I highly recommend that. They're casual, they're comfortable, but you could wear them out. I've done them in denim and absolutely love them. They have huge pockets on them. They're high-waisted. You can do them wide-legged. You can do the tapered leg. They have pattern options for both. Great option for first pair of pants. The third piece of clothing for beginners, I chose a dress. And again, this is a dress that I feel like it has some shape to it, but it's not that difficult to make. It's the Merchant and Mills trapeze dress. Now, don't get bogged down in the crazy, elaborate instructions in the Merchant and Mills patterns. I love their patterns, but I do feel like for beginners, it's a little overwhelming. They give you a lot of information. So just try to, if you're new to sewing, I always recommend look at the pictures. Make the picture match what you have laid before you on the table. Make the shapes match, figure out what's the right side, what's the wrong side. Usually the wrong side is shown as white and the right side of the fabric is shown as like grayed. That can be a huge game changer in understanding a pattern. But anyway, the trapeze dress, it's kind of a flared dress. It falls just before the knee, or just after the knee, I should say. But you can change the hemline to whatever you want. You have options to put buttons down the back. It does not need buttons whatsoever. The neck hole is large enough just to pull over that you could cut it on the fold in the front, cut it on the fold in the back. And I love it because I've seen it in so many different fabrics. This winter, a student of mine made it in this beautiful wool tweed that she had held onto. I think her mom had held onto and then gave it to her, and she made this beautiful dress. And then I've seen it in linen, and I've seen it in cotton, lightweight summer dress. So it's a really, really versatile, easy dress. So those are my 3 beginner patterns. Now, if you are feeling like you have more intermediate level skills, I would recommend the Ilford jacket by Friday Pattern Company. It is a wonderful pattern because it's many different things can be done with it. You could do it in a denim and it could be a true like work jacket. You could do it in a linen and it would be this great button-down shirt. So yeah, it can be customized in 100 different ways, and you know, it's not that hard. There's different collars, but they take you through a collar that's done in a really easy way. And Friday Pattern Companies is one of my favorite pattern companies for beginners because their instructions are amazing, their illustrations are amazing. They have tutorials for every pattern that they have. So if you're like, I'm not really an instructions kind of person, figure out where they've got the tutorial online and watch that. So now, more intermediate level is my absolute favorite pair of pants, the Persephone pants. It's a pattern that's been around for years, and if you know sewers, they love this pattern because it's a pair of high-waisted pants or jeans that fits so many different bodies and looks really good on so many different bodies. And they're wide-legged. You could taper them if you wanted to, I suppose. But it has a button fly. I think there's probably a zipper fly extension, or I always tend to make the button fly version. It's just a really stylish, not ridiculously hard pair of pants. The pockets on the front are sort of strange, and I kind of skip them, and I end up adding like a patch pocket on the front that has like a diagonal line so I can stick my hands in. And then I always do patch pockets on the back, which I don't think is in the pattern either, but very easy to customize. So none of these patterns are new. Someday I'll show you my pattern collection. I'm like over there looking at it. So I've got a ton of indie patterns that I've collected through the years, and I feel like I sort of put myself on a no buying of new patterns this year. It hasn't really worked out because there are things that I see and love, and I want to support the indie pattern makers, so I bought some new ones. But these tried and true patterns that I'm talking about in this video are fairly old. So the next one is a closet core pattern. It's the Carolyn pajamas, and they are like a lounge set with a collar and with a lapel, and you can add piping, and they are not terribly difficult. Like, they're in my advanced section, and I guess because the collar and the lapel is a little bit tricky. The pants are amazing, and they're simple, and they have a pocket, and they have an elastic waist, and you can put a cuff on them to make them a little bit more advanced. But anyway, a great pattern. I think almost every pair of pajamas that I wear are that pattern. I've tried their newer one. I can't remember what it's called. And I don't like it as much. It uses a lot of fabric that it feels too big and bulky. Just my honest opinion. I taught those pajamas in a class, and they're fine. And I have them in like a cotton flannel, and I wear them in the winter because it's just a lot of fabric. But my go-to is always these Carolyn pajamas. And then the other more sort of advanced pattern is my workout pants, and I swear by the green style patterns. They're not a huge, maybe they are a huge pattern company. I don't know. I discovered them probably 7 or 8 years ago when I wanted to do more workout type clothing, because that's sort of their specialty, knits and stretchy clothing, and they sell really great stretchy fabric too, made for working out. But anyway, they're super G tights. I think it's one of the first pair of workout pants. They have a lot of workout pants on their website, but it's one of the first pairs, and it's just the basic, wide waist. There's a slim pocket down the side of it on both sides that you can slip your phone in, and made out of some really heavy duty, workout knit type fabric. I don't love Lycra for these pants. I like something a little bit heavier. I'll put links to some of the heavier fabric for those right on the Grain Style website. I'm spacing on the name of it. Anyway, I'll put it down below. So I just wanted to end this video with some final tips and recommendations. If you're shopping for fabric for your new sewing hobby and you haven't done it a lot, just go with what you're comfortable with. Those first simple patterns can all be made with cotton woven, nothing with a stretch, really simple fabric, linen, cotton linen blends. Go with those types of fabric. They will be your friend when you're just starting. And I mentioned this already, don't be afraid to make a wearable muslin. I highly recommend it if you possibly can. Who knows, you might make it perfect and want to wear it all the time. But making a muslin saves you from wasting the good fabric. So if you're like dreaming of this project with the perfect fabric, just make a muslin first so you know you don't waste the fabric. Okay, and then the other one is all these patterns have about 1 million hashtags on Instagram. So just figure out what the hashtag is. Probably for, I don't know, for the Carolyn pajamas, it's going to be like Closet Core Patterns Carolyn pajamas or CC pattern. I don't know exactly what the Closet Core hashtag is, but if you go to their website, they will tell you. And then look at the Instagram, because then you're going to see people wearing the clothes of wearing these patterns, not just the models from the website. So I highly recommend doing that. And if you are just starting out and you're like, I don't know what sewing machine, I want to get a sewing machine, I want to start sewing, reach out to me. Don't get the crappy $99, I don't even think they're $99 anymore, but you know, don't get the super low end sewing machine from Walmart, please. Reach out and I will help you. There are ways to save some money, but still get a good sewing machine. So please reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. I've been recommending sewing machines probably for the last 20 years, and I'm happy to help you. I hope that this video has helped you and inspired you to start making your own handmade wardrobe. I would love it if you commented or reached out to me about what you're excited to try, what you're working on, and if you stumble and you need help, guess what? I do Zoom sewing lessons. So reach out to me. We could spend an hour together. I can get you through the burrito that is a lined top. I've explained that on Zoom and it works. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is if you get stuck on a pattern and you're not here in the Catskills to come to my sew club, we'll set up a time on Zoom and we can do a lesson together. All right. So if you like this video, please like, please subscribe, and please reach out and say hello. I always love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.